Help keep Kinks and Beats Daily ad-free and receive bonus content early with a contribution of 20 cents per episode. Visit herohabit.com/shop for more information. Welcome to Kinks and Beats Daily. I'm your host, Tony Fry. This is episode 118. Before we get started, I want to let you all know that since we're all stuck up in our homes, working from home, if we are working or just, on shelter in place without a job to go to and that we can't do from home, but we're all, dealing with this new reality temporarily as this COVID virus sweeps through our respective homelands. So I thought it would be fun tomorrow, March 25th, 2020, if we did a live episode of this podcast. And I have some cool surprises in store that I'm not going to reveal just yet, but I think if you're a Kinks or a Beatles fan, you'll enjoy this. So what we're going to do on Instagram, if you follow Hero Habit on Instagram at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is, I think, 7 o'clock UK time in the evening, we're going to do a live episode, and I encourage you all to come in. You can chat with me or other people who are viewing, and we'll just see what happens. Hopefully we have a good time. My buddies at 1234 Go Records in Oakland, California, are doing live DJ sets via Instagram Live, and people are loving it, and I thought, what a cool idea. Also, if you are a fan of vinyl, swing by 1234 Go Records website. They are still shipping out stuff, even though you can't go into their store. You can still buy online, and a lot of record stores are doing that. You can shop online, and they will ship it to you, and we can still be supporting local businesses and getting our fix of good music during this weird time we're living in. So tomorrow, Instagram Live, follow Hero Habit, all one word, and at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, we will start our live broadcast. It's not going to be a normal podcast episode like you're used to hearing here. It'll be fun, and it will not be released. So this will be your only chance to listen to it. This is not one that's going to be distributed through this podcast feed, not even as a bonus episode. So you have been warned. You have one chance to watch, and I hope you do. All right, today we are talking about Who'll Be the Next in Line by the Kinks. It was released March 19th, 1965 as the B-side to Everybody's Gonna Be Happy. And it was released in America as the A-side. They switched it. They flipped them on July 21st, 1965. It reached number 34 in America. And the reason they flipped it was because this was the first Kinks song to not be a big top 10 hit. Not this one, but the Everybody's Gonna Be Happy. And so they freaked out in America. They refused to release it as an A-side. And somewhat ironically, it didn't, hit top 20 in America. But it's kind of a complicated song, and we'll talk about that later. But it's a bit of a departure for the band, and I don't really understand why they weren't bigger hits, other than the fact that it could have been saturation. There were 3 months between when they recorded this track and when it was released. They recorded it December 22nd and 23rd, 1964 at Pi Studios. Ray's playing piano. Dave, Pete, and Mick are playing their normal instruments. And 3 months go by until it's released. And in that time, Tired of Waiting for You, the single, is released. And Kinda Kinks, their latest LP, is released. And the next, so it's between December, so they release So Tired of Waiting for You. Then they release Kinda Kinks. Then like 2 weeks later, they release Everybody's Gonna Be Happy, backed with Who'll Be the Next in Line. Then 2 months after that, they released the Set Me Free single. So they're literally on every 2 or 3 months, there's a new album or single being released. So it's possible that maybe just it was too much all at once to have been a huge hit. That's a unsustainable release schedule. We've talked about that in the past. This song would eventually end up on a U.S. compilation album called Kinkdom in November 1965. And the band they took 8 takes to record the rhythm track. And Ray recorded his vocal in 1 take and then did a double track vocal in 1 take. So essentially there were 10 takes for this song to be finished. 8 of the band and then 1 of each vocal track. And what makes it tricky is it's got a weird groove. Whoops. It's got a weird groove. It opens with that little riff, which is just we're in a G chord. It's just the root, the 7th, flat 7, 6, 5. So G, F, E, D. And then it goes into the groove, but the groove is kind of, this weird pattern, and then the vocal delivery on top of it doesn't really make any sense to what the band is playing. And that, I think that's cool. There's a real rhythmic dissonance between what the rhythm section is doing and what Ray is singing. And so it's very hard. I did a couple passes of it just to get it under my fingers before I recorded. And this is a hard song to sing while you're playing. Who'll be the next in line? Who'll be the next in line for heartache? Who'll be the next mistake I made over you? Who'll be the next in line? Who'll be the next in line for you? Who'll be the next in line? Who'll be the next in line to watch you love? I can't even do it. So it's a weird, because they're not. So Ray's doing the little like half step slide in on the piano. They're not. There's like a certain swing to it. So it's not triplets or sixteenths straight ahead. There is like a swing to it. But there's no swing to the vocal. Who'll be the next in line? Who'll be the next in line for a heartache? Right? There's not a lot of swing to that matches what the band is doing. And maybe that also contributes to, why it didn't chart as high as it maybe should, because this is a very different song. And it's not super easy to dance to or to move to. And, which was an important factor in the 1960s, especially this period of the 1960s. You had to be able to dance to it. So that's kind of interesting. There's also the chordal structure. It's mostly on G. And then he resolves by going down a whole step, which is not in the key of G, because the key of G would have been an F sharp. Actually, it would have been an F sharp diminished. But so he's not going down chromatically. He's just climbing kind of down a scale. Everything goes down a whole step. And then he goes down a half step to E major, which is also not in the key of G, because we have a G sharp in there. And then this is really, at this point, is the only part of the song where he uses some form of diatonic movement, where he goes to the 4 chord. Off of E, he goes to the 4 chord, which is not in the key of G. This is an A major. And then back to G. And then from that A chord, the second time, he goes to a C major. So the A chord has the C sharp in it. and then he slides the C down to C natural, to G, to E, to A. Who'll be the next in line? Who'll be the next in line for a heartache? Who'll make the same mistake I made over you? Who'll be the next in line? Who'll be the next in line for you? So it's kind of got like a So Tired of Waiting for You progression, and then some of the ways, like when he does for you, the way he bends into that is kind of harkens back to the Tired of Waiting. So it seems like a logical evolution for his writing style at this time. But audiences didn't buy it. Again, I think it was more to do with this weird rhythm and the fact that they just had an album come out 2 weeks before and a single a month or two before that, a hit single. So it's like, if It's So Tired of Waiting for You was a flop, maybe this single would have done better. But they had just had a hit and had just had an album come out, and now you're releasing another single. It could have just been saturation. And it's all, at this point, it's on the timing too, because you've also got the Beatles and the Stones putting out hit singles in this same period at this same rate of release. So it's a very crowded marketplace. So, having this track, or Everybody's Gonna Be Happy, was the A-side in England. But either way, regardless, both of those tunes are kind of funky tunes. Having those mixed in with everything else that's going on, it just might not have been room for them to be top 10 hits. Regardless, we can look back at them now as solid tunes. And I've always liked this song. It's a funky tune. It's a little bit weird, but it's still distinctly early Kinks. It's not as big a jump as like Sunny Afternoon's going to be down the line. So that's Who'll Be the Next in Line. Oh, it also has the going back. I was just about to be done, but going back to the comparison to So Tired, So Tired, tired of waiting for you, where he takes these steps to finish the line is who'll be the next in line? Who'll be the next in line for heartache? So he's kind of still using that device of kind of getting half a thought out and then in the following line completing that thought. So in a lot of ways, it's might be too different from its predecessor and also too similar to his predecessor at the same time, depending on what aspect of the song you're analyzing against Tired of Waiting. All right, with that, I'm about done. It's a good tune. I like this one. It's one of my favorite early Kinks tunes, and you can listen to it on the Spotify playlist. I hope you will all join me tomorrow. Again, Instagram Live at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for our live Kinks and Beats daily. It's going to be a mix. It's not going to be, like I said, we typically go alternate between a Kinks and a Beatles related episode. This is going to be everything. So if you like either band, you're going to hear something you enjoy. And I'm not going to give up any more information than that. But I hope you'll join me tomorrow, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Instagram Live for live Kinks and Beats daily. All right, I will talk to you then, and thanks for listening. This podcast is presented by the Hero Habit Podcast Network. Swing by HeroHabit.com today to comment on this episode and poke around our growing database of sports and pop culture news, reviews, and collectibles. HeroHabit.com. Collect your heroes.